Happy to be here, and thanks for the invitation. And I was just listening to Eddie's story, and what I loved about it was the idea of just do it, and that's also what the key to our success was, and we called it start small, scale fast. So do it a bit like an entrepreneur would do it. Yeah, and that also is a bit on the learning curve strategy. The question that just was being asked is just basically get started, do it. And Eddie said it will take you probably 100 hours to build your first 9-flow. I would even go a little bit further. We train people in 3 hours to get working on their first audit 9-flow. But obviously it takes about 1,000 hours to become a practitioner, and even more to become an expert. So having said that, I will start telling a bit about myself. Then I will tell a bit about the journey that we've been doing the past 4 years at Audit Rabobank. And finally, I will share one of the cases that we've done. Yeah, as said, my name is Michiel. I'm head of audit data excellence at Audit Rabobank. A little bit about my personal life. I was born and raised in Amsterdam, spent some time in Trieste, Italy, and ended up here in Almere, close to Amsterdam. And I have been living there with my wife and 4 kids and 2 dogs. Yes, it's crowd, for the past 20 years. So my work life started at Generali, an insurance company, for 10 years, then worked for PA Consulting for 10 years, and started at Rabobank internally, let's say 2 years ago. And my current manager actually said, I don't need a predictive model to predict how many years you will stay at Rabobank. Well, let's see what the future brings. Education-wise, did my MBA at the University of Amsterdam. By the way, I did business mathematics and informatics, among others, at the Free University in Amsterdam, which is now called, I think, Business Analytics. So there's a similarity there. I lectured at Nijrode Business University and currently at Tilburg University. Now, let's have a look at our journey at Rabobank for the past 4 years. One big topic, the management team of Audit Rabobank said, everybody is working with data. And everybody is becoming more digital and doing data analytics in the business. And that means that probably it should mean something for us as auditors as well. We don't know yet how, but we need to do something there, and that's why the management team set a couple of targets. So become more efficient with data analytics, apply it in a lot of the audits that we're doing, and have data sets readily available for follow-up deep dives on the data and Q&As. So tone at the top was critical in this. And then it was just start doing it. And the honest story is that 90% of what we do is basic analytics. If you can go to the next slide, you will see the different types of analytics that we perform. And the honest story is 90% is not advanced analytics. Yes, we do advanced analytics, but basically the majority of the part we can already make impact with what we call smart business intelligence and basic analytics, such as, for instance, descriptives, dashboarding, data quality profiling, reconciliation between different sources regarding data lineage, do some benchmarking between products, regions, or locations, and translate, let's say, knowledge of senior auditors into business rules that we want to test in let's say the full population. But we also do some advanced analytics here, and we do some process mining. We do some process mining, anomaly detection, text analysis, cluster analysis, and stuff like that. But again, like I said before, 90% of what we do is basic analytics. Now, it took us, let's say, the first year to really understand that it's not just about hiring, let's say, a data scientist to work on this. So we thought about a target operating model to really embed our way of working with data. So we thought about an innovation cycle, the ways of working, what kind of people we need to hire, learning and development. For instance, we trained all of our auditors, all of our 300 auditors at Audit Rabobank. We trained them in 2 days to become data literate and to start doing the first exercises with NIME themselves, even though maybe in the end they're not going to perform it. But at least they know what the potential is and how you could use it. We start developing the culture, nurturing the culture to become data-driven. And we thought about ways to really have short time to markets to data acquisition. And obviously, we need to think about data governance and privacy and stuff like that. We also came up with an architecture to have our own, let's say, platform to do our analysis, and we had our own technical stack. And one of the tools that we use is NIME. I would say one of the key tools that we use is NIME, and it's also that I always say it's NIME unless, right? If people want to do Python, then go somewhere else. We start with NIME. And if it cannot be fixed with NIME, we can always go to Python. Because yes, we do have our data scientists that can script Python. But basically, a lot of the exercises that we do, we can do with NIME. Also, what we thought about was we have a central team of business analysts and data analysts. But actually, all the different audit teams, the auditors themselves, they need to become, let's say, more data-driven. They need to be able to do data analysis themselves. So that's what we support. So it's more of a hub and spoke than a center of excellence. Now, if we continue, I said start small, scale fast. So the first year we started with just doing 7 cases, try to see whether there's value in it. And actually there was. And the second year we doubled that amount of cases. And we start building the operating model that I just explained and training the auditors, also to identify the data-driven opportunities. And the third year, we again more than doubled to 35 cases a year. And last year we did end up with 57 cases that we did, and obviously that only is possible by making sure that all the auditors can do the analysis, especially the basic analytics. So in this learning journey, there's no change without challenges. And some of the learnings, tone at the top is critical. And luckily for us, that was pretty good. If you can go to the next slide. And also, we used the carrot and the stick. So we used demo sessions where auditors showed to other auditors what impact they made with analytics that they did. And the stick in terms of making sure that there was a KPI to see how many audits which teams actually performed DDA on, data-driven assurance on. We also integrated in our regular audit way of working and really steered on benefit realization. Now, like I said, no change without challenges. And some of the challenges are that, yes, sure, nobody's perfect. There are definitely some conservative auditors in the house that need a little bit more push to make the transition towards data-driven assurance. It also appears to be challenging to, no, it's quite easy to come up with, let's say, negative assurance, so to speak. So it's quite easy to demonstrate that things do not work well. So come up with anomalies that demonstrate that there are insufficiencies in either the process or the data or whatever. But it's more difficult to provide positive assurance. So that's also something that we thought about, and that we still need to develop further. Now, enough about, let's say, our journey. Let's quickly go to the use case that we did, and that's about anomaly detection, and it's about known and unknown patterns. And just as a matter of context, I chose let's say, the anti-money laundering audit context. Just quickly, what is anti-money laundering? It's about dirty money. People with bad intentions having dirty money. They do a placement at a bank, and with different layers, they make sure that they launder it, and so that they can actually use it for, let's say, legitimate purchases. So that's what we want to avoid, obviously. If you can go to the next slide. And this is all about the known patterns and the unknown patterns. So first of all, obviously we started with just interviewing the senior auditors to really understand what identifies the behavior of people with wrong intentions, and translate those hypotheses into a set of defined business rules. And obviously you can use NIME very, very well to define those business rules and apply them on the full portfolio. And that is actually the biggest gain. It's not about efficiency for us. It's about increased quality of assurance. And that means that instead of a sample of maybe 20, we're able to test it and prove it and show it for the full population. So this is about the known patterns, and then maybe good to know about the Johari window, and you might seen this picture also based on Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld in 2002, but actually it's way older. It's from 1955, and it's about things, let's say, known to yourself and not known to yourself versus known to others and not known to others. And so it's about the knowns and the unknowns. And if you take a look at what this is, then actually this is about what we know, and not known to ourselves. We interviewed the senior auditors to be known with this and translate it into business rules. But more interestingly, when we applied, let's say, the basic analytics stuff to that, a little bit of benchmarking, a little bit of translating business rules, and apply it in NIME. Now, more interestingly is unknown patterns, because known patterns, well, obviously you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. So you can miss a lot out there. And obviously we want to avoid it. Also people with bad intentions, they tend to learn quickly. So if you have some patterns that you know, then probably people with bad intentions will know that as well, that you know it, and will have some follow-up action and improve their patterns. Now, unknown patterns, we can use anomaly detection, we can use cluster analysis, and also some text mining. And there's way more out there, but this is what we can do to actually identify unknown patterns, unknown behavior, and based on that we can learn a lot about what might be out there that we are not aware about. If you click further, then you see this is an example of anomaly detection, where you are trying, in all the fish, you are trying to identify the one fish that is off, that is odd. And that is what anomaly detection does. And anomaly detection is one example of machine learning that you can apply. And then cluster analysis that I talked about, if you click again, that is actually about identifying clusters of clients that actually show similar behavior. and based on that similar behavior, well, you can imagine that you can do some sample checks based on the different clusters that you can identify, and also better learn what types of patterns and types of behavior is actually out there. Now, we applied that in 9, and we wanted to make that available for, let's say, all the 300 auditors, or at least a big part of it, which the majority is non-tech, right? So we created a standard 9 flow that can be reused and is very easy to handle for people that have a little bit of a knowledge of 9. And it's all about data access, inspecting exclude columns, do some anomaly detection, have some visualization for the output, and store the output. That is what it's all about. And maybe also good to be aware of. We often use the Data Explorer 9 node to first have a very good idea about the data that's in there, because for anomaly detection, the key difference to success is actually developing the right or identifying the right features, the right columns that you're going to apply the anomaly detection on. And you can very well use the Data Explorer node to identify and to better understand what data goes in there. Now, if you go further, then you see that under the hood there's all kind of 9 nodes readily available for you, and we just created a 9 flow that makes it a little bit easier to reuse, but you can build it up easily yourself. And in this case, for example, you can see that we used the H2O anomaly node from 9. So yeah, readily available, ready for use. Now, anomaly detection is an art in itself. So we have some points that you can take into account. Start small again. Start small, scale fast. Also here within the analysis, so start with only a few variables, a few columns, also known as features, and just see what happens and what the data is telling you. And understand the detected anomalies. So the outcome, really try to understand, why is this an anomaly? Why is this different than the others? And try to make it a known instead of an unknown. And obviously it's garbage in, garbage out as always. So you need to take care of the quality of your input. And again, also that Data Explorer node of 9 can help you with that. So yeah, and you can also perform cluster analysis on the anomaly scores to identify different clusters within the anomalies. And you can also use it for spotting the data quality issues, which can be an observation and finding in itself. All right, so yeah, that in a nutshell was a little bit about our journey in terms of data-driven assurance, where we come from and what we did, and explain to you a little bit about one of the many use cases that we're performing. Yeah, thanks for listening and be involved. So I think it's key also within Rabobank, but also out there. We need to learn as a community, and therefore we need to be involved, and we need to help each other learn. So that's my presentation, and I hope that there's something in it that you can take away from this. So yeah, thanks a lot. Maybe there's some questions.
Michiel, thank you. You hope there's something that people can take away from it. That was such a comprehensive discussion. I mean, you had technologists, non-technologists, you even had bad guys in there. What a fantastic presentation. There's going to be some questions for sure. So let's get to Anna and Constance and hear from the audience.
Definitely. The audience is really interested in understanding a little bit about the 57 use cases. They want to understand, when you say 57 use cases, especially because you scaled so fast, do they mean like auditing specific use cases, or are they more also generic use cases? Do you see 9 being used in other departments, for instance, or in other applications?
Yeah, Yeah, so that's a good question. First of all, those numbers, they apply to the audit context, not necessarily being one audit. It can be audit overarching. It can be definitely can be reusable. We have a lot of them as well. And very often, one of our key goals, and I need to be honest that we still have a lot to do to make that perfect. But we want to also hand over, let's say, the algorithms that we create to the first and the second line to make sure that they are going to learn from it as well. And the other way around, there's a lot to learn from what they are already doing, and I'm sure that there's even way more specialism and expertise out there that we can rely on and are relying on. But we use it, so yes, we use it also to hand it over to other parts in the business. And sometimes that is a piece of analytics that we can prototype in a dashboard or in a piece of algorithm that you can just reuse and click on it every month or week, etc. And then it becomes more of a continuous monitoring. And I have had, I'm not an auditor by nature myself. I've had a lot of discussions with auditors. Continuous monitoring probably is not something that as an audit department you want to do yourself. You want that the first and the second line are doing the continuous monitoring. So that's also why we stimulate that these pieces of insight also in the analytics are being used by the first and the second line.
Thank you so much.